Hey guys, I hope everybody is having a fantastic day. Whether you're watching this in the morning, in the afternoon, or in the evening, I am glad you're here. If you're so inclined and you have the chance, please hit the subscribe button below and hit the bell notification if you don't mind. It helps you get notified when I release new videos, and it also helps my video get seen by more people. I've also got a membership join the page program down below. You can check details out on that for some exclusive content and other perks. But guys, today's video is the continuation of my Todd knife and tool collection deep dive, and this will be the final Bestech in the collection, and tomorrow we'll round it out with the Wii. But this is probably one of the more unique and less practical, depending on what your idea of practicality is. I just absolutely think this is the coolest knife from a geometric standpoint. When you look at the actual lines of this knife when it's closed, you can of course see the familiar Todd knife and tool kind of signature 3 holes, the very functional nice milled titanium pocket clip, kind of nice floating back spacer, not quite as long as we saw on the Shodan, more down around the size of the Exploit, but has a real nice kind of, I guess for lack of better terms, I don't know why I keep coming back to steampunk, but just an industrial type looking knife. Again, it's similar to the other two that we looked at, but wow, is it different. This guy is a hardcore Wharncliffe splinter remover, pokey stabby, super fine tip. If I could get it to actually focus on the tip. I mean, guys, this knife is very acute, and acute's probably not the right word. It's got the same type of little swedge or little spine treatment here, but it's up towards the top of the blade because this particular Malware terminates to such a thin, slicey, pokey point. Just really unique. And it's a regular flipper, so it's a flipper tab deployment, titanium frame lock, S35VN, just like the other Bestechs and Todd Knife and Tool collabs. It does have the deployment hole, which is my primary way of deploying the knife. It's got that fuller that if you miss the hole for whatever reason, which this knife it's kind of set up just to really hit it perfectly. It's got very good action both for the flipper or for the deployment hole. And let me rip a page out of Poo-Poo and Ammo so we can see if it cuts. And I know you guys don't ask for cut tests, but on some of my shorts, people say, don't open it, just open the knife, show us that it'll cut. All my knives cut, guys. They all cut differently. They're all designed for different types of things. This one's designed for that, or that, or that, but it also does that. So I won't frustrate y'all with the paper slicing, but that's the Bestech Malware. Again, it's a knife that I carry seldomly because it is a larger knife, as we'll see in a second when we do some size comparisons. But it's a knife that I have great affection for and I handle and use quite a bit. It's got a very narrow handle, as you can tell by probably the thumbnail and by the actual pictures of this knife in my hand. It's not what I would consider a long-term, hard-to-use type of knife because the handle being so narrow and the clip is again a narrow clip, but you do feel it. And again, it doesn't give you a lot, even with this finger choil, unlike the Shodan that has a very generous finger choil. This Malware has a very functional finger choil, or a functional finger choil for me, with the same hardcore but not too aggressive jimping to hold my finger. So it's functional, but it's not as inviting, so should we say. Probably because I know how slicey the blade is And I know that if you can tell there's no jimping in the choil, but it is deep and defined because you've got that straight plunge, if that's what you want to call it, like a Spyderco on this particular specimen. But I'd hold it back here. I mean, I think for what this knife was designed for, which is, I guess, piercing tasks, maybe some serious utility cuts. I'm careful that if I slide into my mat here, I'm going to cut it and it'll be just all over. I'll have to order another one because it is just that slicey. But that's the Bestech Malware S35VN full titanium. And let's do a couple of quick size comparisons, and let's look at it up next to our cold steel Formax, and you will see that, wow, that is right up there with the cold steel Formax in length. So much so that if I butt them up together, I'll see that it's only about 1.5 inches shorter than the cold steel Formax. Of course, it's altogether different knife, and much the cold steel Formax could probably chop the Malware up. But there it is compared to the Civivi Baby Banter. Let's look at it next to our Benchmade Bug Out and our Spyderco Paramilitary 2. So guys, it's a good 1/2 inch longer than the Paramilitary 2 and a good inch longer than the Benchmade Bug Out. Let me see if I can get my hand on my Ben Peterson, aka Ben Banters, aka What's Up Guys, aka NAFCO titanium ruler that I have a hard time reading. And I think that we'll find that we've got a 4-inch blade on this Bestech Malware, and we have right under a 5-inch handle. So that's almost a 9-inch knife, guys. So yeah, it is very substantial, yet very comfortable. I mean, it's a frame lock. It doesn't have the over travel stop, but it does have the steel insert. It has good lock bar access. I wouldn't call it great lock bar access. It's done a little bit differently. Whereas opposed to having your chamfered out area here, you've got this very defined cutout area right here. Let's see if I can. Trying to turn my little torch on. There we go. My little Dapper Designs wasn't cooperating with me. So y'all see the chamfers right there where it's cut out. So that gives you kind of a unique access to that lock bar. So it's very easy to get to. It's just not a slide over thing. You just kind of has to readjust the way you think about it and just go straight for it, if that makes any sense. Because the way that it's cut out, your finger just naturally falls down into it. I am horizontal, but it is pretty drop shutty. Again, the blade's very light, so it takes a little bit of a shake. It doesn't fall like the other two, but in terms of action, it's very satisfying. In terms of cutability or sliceability, it's very slicey. I would say more of a utility cutter or a piercer. And again, it's not the poke it through a car door kind of piercer. It's more of that Spyderco, I mean, comes down to a laser beam point kind of piercer. And that is the Bestech Malware. Again, I've had this knife in my collection for a little over a year, right around a year, as I started collecting the Todd knife and tools. Have I cut a ton of cardboard with it? Nah. Have I cut a lot of boxes with it? Yeah, I've gotten into a few boxes with it. Have I done any hard use or feather sticking with it? No. Not because I don't think it'll do it. It's just because I haven't needed to. It hadn't met the criteria of I'm going to grab this knife, the Malware, for that purpose. I actually got this knife to go with my Todd knife and tool collection because I like the design language. So if somebody came to me and said, you know, would you recommend this for your EDC knife, your one and done? I'd say probably not, unless you had very specific tasks like pumpkin carving or, you know, ninjing or fantasy role playing. I mean, to me, it's that kind of knife. So yes, it's practical. It's got some uses, but in terms of a one and done, I would much more be satisfied with that knife, or I would much more be satisfied with that knife if it was, again, one and done, or even for that matter, the other two comparison knives, our Civivi Baby Banter or our Cold Steel 4-Max. But again, it's a great knife, and I would recommend it to a collector, to an enthusiast, to someone who likes Todd Knife and Tool design, someone who likes Bestech fit and finish and engineering. Did you see that? I just stuck the tip into that. Didn't bend it, but I just stabbed my mat there. But I do wish Bestech had kind of left off the branding. I mean, again, the Todd Knife and Tool and the pivot's fine. That's all good. T8 on the pivot, T6 on the body screws. If I had my druthers, it'd be T8s all the way around. But guys, cool knife. Thanks for taking the time to chill with me and watch the video. And please, 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 look out for the guy or gal to your left. Look out for the guy or gal to your right. Look out for each other. If you're so inclined, subscribe. Hit the like button if you want to. Hit the down button if you want to. Leave me a comment if you want to or not. But thank you for coming, guys. Thank you for any time you come and watch my videos. And move forward with love in your heart. Choose debate over hate. Till we meet again. Peace. Love you all.